Greetings everybody, my name is Captain Comedy. I'm captain of the Comedy Pirates here with today's video. Today's video is going to be about Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel. And today I'm going to be going over a Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck that I made, which is Naturia. Or Natura, I don't know how you properly pronounce this. But basically, this is a Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck that came out around 2010 when Synchros first started. And I decided I thought it'd be fun to make this, because I like the design of the cards, it's all about nature and all that type of stuff. So I decided to make it. Now, Naturas are, well, I never played Natura ever. I just built it and I never made it, like I used it in games or anything. But I looked up on Google and it said that Naturas are a Yu-Gi-Oh deck that likes to counter your opponents so you can do more stuff. So like if you have a certain Natura, it can cancel your opponent's spells. If you have a certain Natura, it can cancel your opponent's traps, your monster effects, and so forth. So for today's video, I'm just going to be going over the deck list that I have, and I'll be sure to put that in the comments down below. But if you have any recommendations, say, oh, take out this card and put in something else, let me know in the comments down below if you think there should be changes and whatnot. And I never done anything with synchro summoning before, so this should be my first synchro deck that I decided to make. So yeah. So for one of the cards that we'll be having is Natura Veen. It is a level 1 plant tuner effect monster with 200 attack, 300 defense. That has the ability of when your opponent activates a spell or trap card, which is a quick effect, I get tribute summon one Natura monster and this card to negate activation and destroy that. Now I think this is good to cancel for spells and traps, and it's also a tuner that's level 1, so I think that's great. Natura Ladybug, and also level 1. When you synchro summon a Natura monster, you can special summon this card from your graveyard. During your main phase, you contribute this card, and then when Natura monster you control, and it gains 1000 attack to another turn with 100 attack and 100 defense. Now, I feel like Natura Ladybug is going to be a good monster to constantly send to the graveyard, because every time you would synchro summon a Natura, this card gets to be special summoned back from the graveyard. So we have a lot of Natura cards in this deck that require you to either send a Natura to the graveyard or banish it. So if we can possibly have, well, I think one is good for now, but if we just constantly send this card to the graveyard for the abilities, then that'd be great. Because, like I said, when you synchro summon, you can summon this back, and it's a level 1, so you can use it for a synchro summon. Natura Mosquito, also level 1, with 200 attack, 300 defense. While you control another face-up Natura monster, your opponent cannot select this card for an attack. Your opponent takes any battle damage you would have taken involving battles with a Natura monster I control, except this card. So I feel like this is great because you don't really need Swords of Revealing Light when you have this card on the field. So basically, it forces your opponent to attack every other creature but this card. That's how it works in my opinion. If I'm doing that correctly. So if we were to have an ability that's targeting this card and protecting it, I feel like that'd be pretty good. But it's also level 1, so it's good for synchro. Natura Cherries, level 1, plant tuner, 200 attack, 200 defense. Now, I feel like this is a very good card that I'm going to add all 3 copies of, because if this card is sent from your field to your graveyard by opponent's card, when it can be by battle, card effect, you name it, get a special summon up to 2 Natura Cherries from your deck and face down defense position. Now, that can either save you from an upcoming attack, or if you're lucky enough, if it's on your turn, you get to, yeah, you could probably use them for synchro summoning and all that, because they're level 1 tuners. See? So I think that's a pretty good idea. Now, I looked it up on Google, and it shows that the main important cards in this Natura deck would be Natura Mole Cricket and Natura Camellia. Alright, so this is a Natura Mole Cricket, level 1 with 0 attack and 0 defense. Now, during the main phase, you can, and this is a quick effect, you can tribute this card, special summon one Naturia monster from your deck, or I can special summon two Naturia monsters if my opponent controls a monster with the highest attack on the field. Now, I feel like it's always going to let us summon two, because as you can see, the Naturia creatures don't have any strong attack or defense. They rely more on their abilities, more than offense and defense. So that is perfect. Because like you don't have to like, oh, destroy this card to the graveyard. No, I can just summon it, use its ability to tribute this card, and summon two Naturia monsters from my deck, and that's it. And I think it's pretty cool. And if your opponent special summons a monster from the extra deck, or I special summon a Naturia monster from the extra deck, while this card's in my graveyard, I get to special summon this card back onto the field. So this is good when it comes to bringing out creatures that you need. And whenever I summon or your opponent summons from the extra deck, which mine's going to be nothing but Naturia monsters, so you can see, that'll be great because I can constantly bring this card back from the graveyard. So that's why I'm going to run 3 copies. And then you have Naturia Antjaw, level 2, 400 attack, 200 defense. And its ability is, when your opponent special summons a monster, I get to special summon one level 3 or lower Naturia monster from my deck. Now that is an overpowered ability, if you ask me, because everybody special summons when it comes to special summoning from your graveyard, from your hand, from the extra deck, you name it. Everybody is going to special summon. So as long as you have this card on the field and it's not destroyed, you're golden, you know? Naturia Sunflower, level 2, 500 attack, 0 defense. When your opponent monster effect is activated, I get to tribute one Naturia monster and this card. And I get activation, and if you do, destroy that card. Now, as you can see, Naturia Sunflower is similar when it comes to Naturia Rain. This one only works with spells and trap cards, but Sunflower is when it comes to a monster's ability. So I feel like this is pretty good. Naturia Fruit Fly, level 3, 800 attack, 1500 defense. Now, all monsters your opponent controls loses 300 attack and defense for each Naturia monster I control. And once per turn, you can target one effect monster your opponent controls with 0 defense. Take control of that target until the end phase. Now, I feel like this is good because it's making your opponents lose attack and defense, which would be great for us since Naturia creatures don't really have much attack or defense to begin with. But it says here I can target one monster your opponent controls with 0 defense and take control of it, which I don't know if my opponent will ever have that, but like just in case, you know. Naturia Stink Bug. When a Naturia monster you control is targeted for an attack, you get to send this card from the field to the graveyard, negate the attack, then end the battle phase. And it's level 3 with 200 attack, 500 defense. Now, as you can see, most cards that you would add would have, like, I would add Swords of Revealing Light, Trap Hole, Mythical Face Typhoon to cancel out certain things. But all your Naturia creatures was already doing that by their abilities. And this is also a level 3 tuner card, which is great for synchro summoning. And then, I don't know how you pronounce this correctly, Naturia Maroon, or Marin. It is a level 3 plant creature with 1200 attack, 700 defense. When you normal summon this card, I can send one Naturia monster from my deck to the graveyard, which is great because that means we can send stuff as Naturia Mole Cricket, I think. No, you get to summon it from the graveyard. I know there's a creature in here that relies sending it to the grave, if I'm not mistaken. I feel like this is a good card just for that ability. And once per turn, you get to target 2 Naturia monsters in your graveyard. Shuffle both those targets into the deck and draw a card. Alright. Maybe you could like send a card that you need to the graveyard and then bring it back to your deck and then draw, and hopefully you get it for a better redraw, maybe. And then we have 1 copy of Ash. Most people would like to do 3, but I like to do 1 of every ghost type if there is, like Ash, Ghost, and a lot of other ones. So instead of adding 3 Ash Blossoms, I would just add 3 of like the ghost type ones that are like level 3 tuners. So everybody knows Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring, level 3, is on me 200 with 0 attack and 1800 defense. Basically, you just discard this card from your hand to cancel the ability of your opponent, adding a card from their deck to the hand, special summoning from the deck, or send a card from the deck to the graveyard. So this pretty much cancels anything that they're going to be doing, but you can only use this ability once per turn. Now, Ghost, Bella, and the Haunted Mansion is similar, except it does it from the graveyard. So if your opponent were to add a card from the graveyard to the hand, deck, or extra deck, or special summon a creature from the graveyard, or banish a card from the graveyard, it negates that. That's why I like to add 1 Ash, 1 Ghost. Naturia Dragonfly, level 4 insect creature with 1200 attack, 400 defense. This card cannot be destroyed by battle with a monster that has 2000 or more attack, which I feel like is great. As long as we can have this card in like defense position, it should be fine. And this card gains 200 attack for each Naturia monster in my graveyard. So this honestly could be very good later on in a game when it comes to like having like a creature with strong attack maybe. Then I added 1 Naturia Cliff, a level 4 rock creature with 1500 attack, 1000 defense. Now, when this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can special summon 1 level 4 or lower Naturia monster from your deck in attack position. Now, this is great because you saw earlier that we have some creatures that require you to tribute summon 1 Naturia card and another one. So if you would have Naturia Cliff and send it to your graveyard, you summon another Naturia creature from your deck, which I think is pretty cool. Naturia Horn Needle, level 4 insect creature with 1800 attack, 100 defense. So every time your opponent special summons a monster, I get to tribute 1 face-up Naturia monster you control and destroy that creature that your opponent controlled. I think that's a great ability to cancel their summonings by destroying them. Now, Naturia Camellia is a level 4 plant tuner creature with 1400 attack, 700 defense. If this card is normal summon or special summon, I get to send 1 Naturia card from your deck to the graveyard. If you would tribute a monster to activate a Naturia monster's effect, I can send the top 2 cards of my deck to the graveyard instead. Which is great because we have like a lot of cards that need to stay on the field so your opponent doesn't summon, activating abilities and stuff like that, as we just saw. If your opponent normal summons or special summons a monster that's not during the damage step, I can special summon 1 Naturia monster from my graveyard. Now this is great because as you saw earlier, we have to tribute summon a lot or send a Naturia creature to the graveyard. So if you have this card, this is great because every time it doesn't look like it limits it to 1. Oh no, it does limit it to 1. See, it says you can only use each effect of this creature once per turn. But hey, it's not bad. If your opponent would just do like normal summon or special summon, you get to summon 1 Naturia monster from your graveyard. I also think that's more than enough. You can literally turn the game around with just 1 combo. So that's why I had 3 copies. And I'm surprised that this is just a rare. I'm like, I thought it would be like an ultra rare, like Naturia Mole Cricket or like Naturia Cliff, where it's like super rare. But no, it's just a rare. But honestly, that's great. Then I'm going to be adding 2 copies of Naturia Bamboo Shot. While you control this face-up card that was tributed summoning by tributing a Naturia monster, your opponent can activate spells and trap cards, and that is great. As long as this card's on the field by tributing summoning it, it's great. It's a level 5 plant creature with 2000 attack, 2000 defense. That's pretty solid if you ask me when it comes to attack and defense. We just probably need something to like protect it. Other than that, you're good. And then I feel like 1 copy of Harpy's Feather Duster is all we need because that's all we legally can have in tournaments is only 1 copy. It's limited. And it's just like to destroy your spells and trap cards that your opponent controls. Monster Reborn. This helps us bringing back monsters from our graveyard that we're constantly sending to the graveyard. Or summoning another monster from your opponent's graveyard that you thought, hey, this is pretty cool. I'm going to steal it. Or, hey, you need that card? Not anymore. I don't have any purpose for it, but I'm going to steal your card anyway with Monster Reborn. Let me just drink some water real quick. Let's see. Alright. And then we would have 2 copies of Landuis Luminous Moss, which this card's ability is activate only if you control a face-up Natura monster. The opponent's effect monsters cannot activate their abilities this turn. Now, normally you would have like a creature of the Naturas do that for you, but if you want to be double sure, saying, hey, I could activate my abilities of my creatures, but to make sure my opponent doesn't do anything and negate my abilities, I'm gonna cancel their abilities with this spell card. Barkion's Bark. Activate if you only control face-up Natura monster, your opponent can activate trap cards this turn. I feel like that's great. It cancels trap cards. And then you have 1 copy of Leo Drake's Mane. Yeah, Leo Drake's Mane, yeah. Yeah, this basically just makes one Natura creature have like 3,000 attack, and its effects are negated to the end of the turn. So that can like pretty much save you, but it's not a quick spell card, it's only a normal spell card. So we just need, hey, I only have, like for example, like let's say I only have Natura Sunflower. Its ability is negated, but instead of having 500 attack, you have 3,000, which it can either save you or you can use it for a battle, you know? Then I say 1 copy of the field spell Natura Forest. If you negate the activation of an opponent's spell or trap card, which a lot of our cards do that, or an opponent's monster effect, which ours also do that, I could add 1 level 3 or lower Natura monster from my deck to my hand. So, I feel like this is great. We already have the creatures that are doing a lot of the abilities of canceling creatures' effects, spells, and trap cards, while our spells and trap cards of ours is helping out by doing it more, like Lildrick's Mane and Landus's Luminous Moss, I believe that's how you pronounce that. And by doing so, you get to summon more. Now, Natura Blessing, I say 3 copies of this, and it's a quick spell card. Now you can only pick 1, which is you can special summon a Natura creature from your hand or graveyard, which I feel like we'll be using a lot more from the graveyard. Immediately after this effect resolves, synchro summon 1 synchro monster using monster you control as materials, including the Natura monster. So let's say you don't have the specific card, it doesn't matter. This one lets you do it just as long as you have a Natura creature. Now, this one allows you to fusion summon 1 fusion monster from extra deck using creatures I control as a material, including a Natura monster. I think it's great because that means we're going to be summoning a lot of these 2 creatures. Now, I would put more copies, but as you can see, I only have 1. It's more hard to get like ultra rare and like super rare in Yu-Gi-Oh! Master Duel, unless I spend money and hopefully get some in like a lot of packs, but I'm not doing that. Now, Scrap Iron Scarecrow I think should be added because a lot of our creatures are going to get targeted a lot, destroyed. So by saving our creatures by battle, it lets you save 1 creature per turn. And then this card, instead of going through graveyard, it goes straight back face down on your field, which I think is great. Now, Infinite and Permanence, I think that's how you pronounce that. But honestly, I think this is also a good ability. This allows you to target 1 face-up monster your opponent controls, negates that ability until the end of the turn, and then if this card was set before the activation is on the field, that column of where you place this card is also negated. And if you control no cards, you can just activate it from your hand. Now I feel like this is great. Great ability, great card, great everything. It pretty much does like everything we want when it comes to canceling. I think it's great. Exterior's Fang, I believe that's how you pronounce that. Now, this trap card is when your opponent activates a spell or trap card while I control a Natura monster and have at least 1 card in your hand, negate the activation. If you do, destroy it. And then send 1 card from your hand to the graveyard. Now, I don't like the fact that we have to send 1 card from our hand to the graveyard when we're already like tributing and sending to the graveyard a lot. But it helps when you're negate the activation of a spell or trap card, and the more that we do it, the more that we can summon. Now, I'm gonna have 1 copy of Graceful Revival because as you can see, we're sending a lot of our Naturia creatures to the graveyard. So this one allows you to summon a level 1 or level 2 let's like call it a haunted, but for like weaker creatures. That's basically it. And then 2 copies of Naturia Sacred Tree. Now, you can activate these abilities, but as you can see, if this card is sent to the graveyard, add 1 Naturia card from your deck to your hand, except Naturia Sacred Tree. Now, as you can see, we already have a lot of like cards in here that like will tell you to send a card to the graveyard. So this one helps us out. So you send this card to the graveyard, and then you can summon a card that you need, like this one or this one, you know? And I can only use abilities once per turn, and only once per turn if this card is face up in the field, because this is a continuous trap card. Now, you can tribute 1 Earth Insect monster to special summon 1 level 4 or lower Earth monster that's plant from your deck, or I can tribute 1 Earth Plant monster to special summon 1 level 4 or lower Earth Insect monster. So basically, a lot that we have here is nothing but insects and plants, as you can see. Which literally this is all that I have except for like 1, which would be Naturia Cliff. Better than that, that works great. I could add other ones, but I'm not going to. As you can see, there are a lot more like Naturia Rock and other ones that are not plant. I guess not. I guess there's not too many rocks. Just this one and that one. But I'm just adding this one just because. Now let's go over the extra deck that I have. I'm going to activate 3 copies of Naturia Leodrake because this is just 1 Earth monster and 1 plus non-tuner Earth monsters, which is level 9. Which basically would only have this for the attack of 3,000 and possibly use a defense of 1,800. Now I have 2 copies of Naturia Landois, which is level 7. They have 2,350 attack and 1,600 defense. 1 Earth Tuner and 1 plus non-tuner Earth monsters. When an opponent effect is activated, which is a quick effect, I get to send 1 spell card from my hand to the graveyard and I get the ability and destroy that monster. And this card must be face up on the field to activate it and resolve. So I feel like this is pretty good. Makes you cancel your opponent's spell cards. 1 copy of Naturia Barkion, which when a trap card is activated, you get to banish 2 cards from your graveyard. Negate the activation, and if you do, destroy that card. If this card must be face up on the field to activate and resolve this ability with 200, 500 defense, 1800 defense, level 6, 1 Earth Tuner monster, plus 1 non-tuner Earth monsters. I feel like it's pretty good. Hold up, give me a second. I think there are some other cards out there that I'm not mistaken that can help. Because we're going to be sending a lot of cards from our field, hand, and like a lot on the field to the graveyard to activate an ability. I think I have a spell card for this. It's like one of the Yu-Gi-Oh! I think it's called Pot of Extravagance. Yep, this one. You get to target 3 banished monsters. Shuffle all 3 into the deck and then draw 1. I feel like this is a good card. So I'm going to add it. Because you can see, we're going to have to... is it this one? No. You can see you're going to banish. I feel like we have like 2 more cards in here that's going to like make you banish. So having this card would be great to summon back the banished monsters. Now I'm not sure if there's like another pot card in here that like allows you to like summon from the graveyard. But for right now, this is what I'm going to have. And if I do change it, I'm going to put it in the deck list below down in the description. Then you have a level 5 Naturia Beast. 2,200 attack and 1,700 defense. 1 Earth Tuner and plus 1 plus non-tuner Earth monster. Now, when a spell card is activated, as a quick effect, I get to send the top 2 cards of my deck to the graveyard, negate it, and destroy it. And this card has to be on the field to activate this card's ability. Now, Natura Gaiastrial, I believe that's how you pronounce that. Level 10 with 2 Earth Synchro monsters. So, if we were to use these 2 level Earths, they're both level 9, but as long as it's a Synchro, it doesn't matter. That's why you have 3 copies. During either player's turn, when a card or effect is activated that targets exactly 1 card on the field and no more cards, I get to send 1 card from my hand to the graveyard, negate the activation, and destroy it, which I feel is good because my opponent would probably have something like that. And then Natura Exteria, which you can see you need 1 Natura Beast and 1 Natura Barkion. This is a level 10 fusion with 2,800 attack, 2,400 defense. Now, when a spell card is activated, I can banish 1 card from my graveyard and send the top card of my deck to the graveyard, negate activation, and destroy it. This card has to be in the field to resolve it. But yeah, that's my Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck list when it comes to Naturas. As you can see, this basically requires you to send Naturas from your field to the graveyard, your deck to the graveyard, or banish them to cancel out stuff. So basically, this is like a control Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck where it makes your opponent not activate their monster's abilities, spells, traps, stuff like that. But yeah, I'm gonna see here real quick if there is one. I mean, this is pretty good. Pot of Duality, which basically makes you look at the top 3 cards of your deck, add 1 to your hand, and shuffle the rest, which makes you have a more likely chance of having like Natura Mole Cricket, Natura Camellia, and other stuff like that. Now, I don't think these cards would be good because we need to banish more. We need to bring back from the graveyard. I mean, this one works. Pot of Avarice. Target 5 monsters in your graveyard, shuffle all 5, and then draw 2. Other than that, I think that's it. Oh yeah, I like the fact they added Mystic Potato. But I feel like Mystic Tomato is a better option because this is destroyed by a card effect, while Tomato is destroyed by a battle. So I prefer that one versus this one, but it's still a pretty cool design. I like it. Now this is not bad, but it requires you to have different types in your graveyard, where everything that we own is literally nothing but Earth. Yeah, other than that, I feel like this would be a good Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck when it comes to Natura creatures. So basically, once I have enough, as you can see, super rare points, so I can purchase these 2 cards, I'll purchase them, and then I'll make a different video different time when it comes to trying out Naturas and see how it works. But other than that, that's today's video when it comes to Natura's deck list of 2025 in January. But yeah, that's it for today's video. Hopefully this video helped you out when it comes to deciding if you're going to be using Naturas in the future, or if you think this is a good deck list or not that you're looking up online and you found this on YouTube. Well, hopefully this helps you out. But yeah, that's it for today's video. Thank you for watching. I highly appreciate the support, everybody. Don't forget to like, subscribe, hit the notification button for future videos when it comes to comedy, gaming, and much more. And if you have any recommendations when it comes to the Natura deck, let me know in the comments down below. What are your opinions on this, and what Yu-Gi-Oh! Deck should I build next? Let me know in the comments down below. Other than that, thank you everybody, and have a good day everyone.